In the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar, when Pilate was governing Judea, Jesus came down to Capernaum, a city of Galilee, and he was teaching them in the synagogue. And they were amazed at his teaching, because his speech was delivered authoritatively. And in the synagogue there was a man who had a spirit, an impure demon, and he cried out with a loud voice, "What is there between us and you, Jesus? Did you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the one consecrated by God." And Jesus rebuked it. And he came to Nazareth, where he was in the synagogue in accord with the custom on the Sabbath days. And he said to them, "No doubt you will say to me this analogy, 'Physician, cure yourself. The things that we heard happen in Capernaum do here as well.' And standing up, they threw him out of the city. And they led him to the edge of the mountain upon which their city had been built, in order to hurl him down. But he, after passing among them, went away. People sick with various diseases, and by placing his hands upon each one of them, he was curing them. Demons also were coming out of many, crying out and saying, 'You are the child of God.' And by rebuking them, he would not permit them to speak. Now when it had become day, he departed and went to a deserted place. And the crowds were looking for him and caught up to him and were detaining him from departing from them. But he said to them, 'I must proclaim the realm of God to other cities also.' Fishermen, Simon. They enclosed a great abundance of fish. Peter, for astonishment seized him, and likewise Zebedee's sons. And Jesus said to Simon, 'Don't be afraid. From now on you will catch people alive.' So the boats abandoning, they followed him, a leprous man. And he, Jesus, touched him, saying, 'Be purified.' And the leprosy left him at once. And he instructed him to tell no one, but go off and show yourself to the priest, and offer for your purification just as Moses commanded, so that it may be a testimony to you." A man who was paralyzed, the crowd. In the middle of the crowd in front of Jesus, he said, "Your misdeeds have been dismissed for you." And, saying, "Who can dismiss misdeeds except God alone?" But Jesus said, in reply, "Now in order that you might know that the human being has the right to dismiss misdeeds on earth," he said to the paralyzed man, "Get up and pick up your cot." And instantly he rose before them. A toll collector. And he said to him, "Follow me. Not those who are healthy, but those who are ill have need of a physician." But they said to him, "Why are the pupils of John fasting frequently and making supplication, but yours are eating and drinking?" But Jesus said to them, "The children of the bridal chamber cannot fast while the bridegroom is with them, can they? When the bridegroom might be taken away from them, then they will fast. No one pours new wine into old bags, and if one does, then the new wine will burst the bags, and it will be spilled out. But new wine must be poured into fresh bags, and both are preserved. And no one puts an unshrunk patch on an old cloak, but if one does, then both the full fabric tears away and the old cloak does not hold together, for a greater tear occurs. Now it happened on a Sabbath that his pupils were plucking the heads of grain, rubbing them in their hands. Now some of the Pharisees said, 'Why are you doing that which is not permitted on the Sabbaths?' And in reply Jesus said to them, 'Do you not recognize that this is what David did when he himself and those with him got hungry? How he entered into the house of God on the Sabbath, and having taken the loaves of offering, he ate and gave to those with him. Now it happened on another Sabbath that there was a person there, and his right hand was shriveled. And the Pharisees were watching him closely to see whether he cures on the Sabbath, in order to find a way to accuse him. Now he knew their intentions. Then Jesus said to them, 'I ask you, is it permitted on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to preserve a life or destroy it?' And after looking around at all of them, he said to him, 'Extend your hand.' And he did so, and his hand was restored. And he said to them, 'The human being is master even of the Sabbath.' When he went out to the mountain to invoke, he spent the whole night in invocation. He summoned his pupils and chose from among them 12, whom he also designated as emissaries: Simon, who he also named Peter, and Andreas his brother, and Jacob and John his brother, and Philip and Bartholomew, and Matthias and Thomas, and Jacob the son of Alphaeus, and Simon who is called the Zealot, and Judah the son of Jacob, and Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor. And after he came down among them, a great multitude of people from all of the coastlands of Tyre and Sidon, and the whole crowd was trying to touch him. And he raised his eyes and began to say, "The beggars are fortunate, because the realm of God is theirs. Those who are hungry are fortunate, because they will be full. Those who are weeping are fortunate, because they will laugh. You will be fortunate whenever people will hate you and reproach you and reject your name as bad due to the human being. Your ancestors acted in the same way towards the prophets. However, woe for you rich people, because you are fully receiving your consolation. Woe for you who are completely filled, because you will be hungry. Woe for you who are laughing now, because you will grieve. Woe whenever people may speak well of you. This is the manner their ancestors also treated the false prophets. But I say to you, you who are listening, love those hostile to you. Act well towards those who hate you. Bless those who curse you, and invoke on behalf of those who insult you. If someone strikes you on the right jaw, offer to him also the other side. And if someone takes your tunic, present to him also your cloak. Give to everyone who asks you, and do not ask back from the one who takes. And just as you wish that people would do for you, you do similarly for them. And if you lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what sort of generosity on your part is that? However, you are to lend without despairing, and you will be children of God, because he is beneficial to the ungenerous and unwell. Become compassionate, just as your Father who is compassionate for you. Do not accuse, so that you will not be accused. Do not condemn, so that you will not be condemned. Acquit, and you will be acquitted. Give, and you will be given to. They will give into your bundles a fine, overflowing measure that has been pressed down. With the measure that you measure, it will be measured to you in return." Then he also told them an analogy. "Can a blind person guide a blind person? Won't both fall into a pit? A pupil is not above the teacher. How can you say to your brother, 'Brother, allow me to extract the splinter that is in your eye,' while you yourself are not seeing the post in your eye? You hypocrite! First extract the post from your eye, and then you will see clearly to extract the splinter that is in your brother's eye. For a fit tree cannot produce unfit fruit, nor conversely does an unfit tree produce fit fruit. The good person brings forth the good from the good deposit of one's heart, and the unwell person brings forth the unwell from one's unwell deposit. So why do you call me, Master, Master, and do not do the things I say? Everyone who comes to me and hears my words and does them is like a wise person building a house, who dug and deepened and placed a foundation upon the bedrock. But say a word and let my boy be healed." Now when Jesus heard these words, he was amazed at him. And after turning to the crowd following him, he said, "I am telling you, I have not found such trust in Israel." Someone who had died was being carried out, an only son of his mother, and she was a widow. And he said, "Young man, I say to you, be awoken." And the dead one sat up. Now everyone began to praise God, saying, "A great prophet is risen among us, and God has visited his people." And this idea about him spread as far as John the Washer in prison, who when he had summoned his pupils said, "Go and ask him, are you the coming one, or are we to expect a different one?" When they came up to him, the men said, "John the Washer dispatched us to you, saying, 'Are you the coming one, or are we to expect another?'" Now in the same hour he cured many, and he made blind people see. And responding, he said to them, "Go tell John that the blind are seeing again, the lame are walking, the deaf are hearing, the dead are being awoken, and whoever is not scandalized by me is fortunate." He began to speak to the crowds about John. "What did you go out into the wilderness to look at? A reed being swayed by the wind? A prophet? Yes, I am telling you, and far more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it has been written, 'Look, I am sending my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your road.' I am telling you, no one is greater among those born of women than John. But the one who is less in the realm of God is greater than he.